London's South Bank exhibition, centrepiece of the nationwide Festival of Britain, welcomes our friends from overseas. The flags are out, and on the banks of the old river of history, we're making new history. Language difficulties are in the hands of pretty interpreters. For once, Britain's blowing her own trumpet, and we've got a pretty good tale to tell. On top of the old shot tower, there's the latest radar equipment. But what first catches the eye is the 300-foot skylon. How the huge piece is supported puzzles the public and fascinates the experts. The progress of transport through the ages is a major issue dealt with at this festival. The ingenuity and skill of British craftsmen is nowhere more apparent than in this field. In the huge transport pavilion, which is an example of the latest factory building methods, there is on show to the world a variety of exhibits which cover all methods of locomotion, including the incredibly powerful jet engines which put Britain ahead of the world. Outside stands the latest standard British locomotive. And in contrast, Battersea Park provides a replica of cartoonist Emmet's Railway, a masterpiece of crazy ingenuity. This links us with the great exhibition of 1851, of which this is a model. It's just 100 years since Queen Victoria opened that first great exhibition which startled the world with British progress. Our engineers led the world, but notice we still travelled by nature's horsepower. Railways were already serving a few big towns, but coaches were still the backbone of public travel. At an earlier period, more than 400 coaches linked the great towns. With good teams, they did the London to Brighton run in under 4 hours. Not bad for a 4-horsepower job. For the ordinary man, Shillabere had not long before revolutionized travel about town with his horse omnibus. In railways, man had begun to find the answer to his demand for faster travel, though he was still doubtful about their safety. There was, of course, the hobby horse. But not for another 15 years was the pedal cycle to appear. And in 1880 came speed in the shape of the old penny farthing. The modern safety cycle came later. But by then, man's dream of horseless carriages had come true. Already in 1895, an unknown Herbert Austin had produced a 3-wheeler. And 11 years later, the first Austin was built at Longbridge, and shortly after, the single-cylinder original Austin 7. Here is an 1824 horsepower town carriage, circa 1910. Here again is the 1824 horsepower in touring car form, famous for its separately cast cylinders and copper water jacket. But now, nothing could hold back progress. You can depend on it, was what Austin wanted the public to say about his car. After the First World War, during which Longbridge produced war material instead of cars, Sir Herbert Austin, as he now was, decided to put motoring within the reach of all. And the baby Austin, one of the most famous cars in the world, was born. So small that comedians made jokes about it. But the little wonder lived up to the Austin reputation, and on the track pioneered small car racing at speeds that shook the experts. And Austin 7 won at 86 miles an hour. Later, the famous OHC special version, though of only 750cc capacity, topped 120. With the 12, 10 and the 7 in production, Austin cars were now a common sight on the roads, at home and abroad. The 7 grew up into the Big 7, a more refined model. In 1939, the 7 disappeared after a life of 17 years, and the famous 8 was born. By then, with their various models, Austins were producing 90,000 cars a year. In the markets of the world, Austin had come to mean quality and value. With a model to suit every pocket, a car for every home had become a possibility. And then came war. The huge Longbridge Plants turned over to war production. Churchill tanks, for instance, which spearheaded the invasion of Europe. In addition to vast quantities of equipment, Austins turned out 118,000 military vehicles. They helped to build the giant Lancaster bombers, which carried the 10-ton blockbusters to the industrial heart of Germany. Ambulances to remove the wounded from the battlefields of the world. Austins also assisted in building the new Horsa gliders that flew on D-Day and to Arnhem. Only meticulous organization, experience and craftsmanship combined with the Austin facilities could turn out quantity with reliability. It was outside normal experience, but solving problems is an Austin specialty, and the work was done, even if some of the older hands echoed the sign on this glider. Peace. 6 years of motor design to make up, and Britain striving for exports to earn dollars. But Austins rose to the occasion, and by 1947, they were able to announce the first British light car of completely post-war design. This was the A40 Devon Saloon. Then, to encourage even greater efforts, Austin's chairman, Mr. Lord, introduced a new scheme.
A scheme of incentive awards based on dispatches of finished cars and commercial vehicles. It starts at 1,700 a week and rises by steps of 100. For instance, at 1,700 the prize money totals £150, the first prize being half this amount, the second will be £37.10, the third £18.15, and the fourth and fifth £9.7 and 6 each. Unfortunately, subject to income tax.
The company pays into a pool so much per unit based on output. Each month, this sum is drawn for so that workers stand a good chance of a valuable bonus on top of the top wages rate they already draw. Thus, they have a direct interest in the firm's success. Off the assembly line, cars began to roll to all corners of the world. To the Far East, to South Africa, and to the toughest market of all, America, where Austin's reliability soon created a public demand. To motor shows the world over, Austin sent their latest models, the Atlantic convertible, the luxurious Shearline, and more recently, the A40 Sports, which, with the new A70 Hereford, maintain the proud claim made by Austin 45 years ago. Austin cars represent the embodiment of all the best features in modern automobile construction. Out of his dream have been born cars which even royalty are proud to own. Austin, you can depend on it, is a proud boast that Austin performance and quality turns into a plain statement of fact.